Hello, welcome to Rex Talk. I'm Rex Thomas. This is episode 8. This topic today is a little different from all those topics we have discussed so far. Is the God here or does it live in fear? Okay, let's begin with the first and the foremost question of millions. Does God as an entity exist? You may conclude it for yourself after watching my video. Since ages, we can say from the day when the human beings began his good or bad civilization, he had his characteristic of fear of the unknown. It could be objects, illusion, nature, his enemy, and most importantly, his own thoughts. The worst among the fear is the thought of his own. As the universe and every particle in it has been made through 5 basic elements: air, I would say gas, water, combination, fire, chemical reaction, rock, formation, and the space, the unknown. And if any of the 5 elements goes above its actual proportion, it could become devastation to the life on Earth. At the same time, Earth is a minute part of the universe. Thus, human beings could be a non-existing entity at the first glance for the universe. All the 5 elements could vary its size, quantity, and reactive force according to the atmosphere it gets into. The universe does not destroy or create anything, but it just undergoes chemical, physical, and a few biological metamorphism, and it eternally goes on. Nothing is thus a permanent structure or form. Well, we are talking about the fear inflicted to the human beings. Fear is not restricted to humans only, but it's a characteristic of every being on Earth. This fear makes and breaks the life on Earth, just on Earth. If the species on Earth remain fearless, the next reaction will be equivalent to an intoxicated lunatic. There will be wars and destruction only. There won't be any place for peace. Fear can also be classified into 2. They are intellectual fear and exponential fear. The intellectual fear makes a human resilient and composed, whereas exponential fear turns as a cover or even a victim of all kinds of superstitions and illusions. Let me explain it broadly. If a human who considers killing another human or another person for his monetary benefit is unethical for peace and joy of life, even though he is physically strong, and that person is called intellectually sound, and that particular action of mind is called intellectual fear, reaction is called, or even say feeling. He avoids a war through negotiations. He picks up a weapon when the existence seems impossible. He does not remain scared too much on the future meteor strike on Earth or a tsunami and spoils his present joy. On the other hand, the exponential fear makes a human goes vertical on the illusory aspect. He remains scared of even a rat on the street that he had studied. A rat bite could cause plague. But he forgets the rat is running 15 meters far and it disappeared in less than 30 seconds. If a black cat crosses his path, he gets scared again, as he considers it's a bad omen. The funny part is, what does the rat do when it does not get food at a near place? What does the cat do when it sees a mouse or a small bird at a striking distance? Will the cat also think that human is a bad omen? It should be applicable on both species. Honestly speaking, human beings are bad omen to almost all animals. So the second human immediately thinks about an entity that he has never seen, experienced, or even could see. he lays a prayer to make his way clear and let the work he was planning to do be done nicely. Why a human gets scared? Because he or she finds the task or the act he or she is supposed to do is beyond that particular person's capability, or it is quite uncertain about the task or the act just did. If the task is thought to be an easy one, you would not be afraid of anything. Eventually, you would not ask the God for help. Human beings, as any other being, is biologically designed to feel fear. It neither makes you weak or stronger at its primary place. The fear of fire, of a matchstick, does not impact you at all. But the same match near to a gas pump, I would say open gas pump or gas cylinder, gets you immediate shiver. Every element of life, if it grows beyond our imagination, it will remain unabated and devastating. Just imagine, water in a tumbler does not transmit fear. But water in the sea could make you run for life. Similarly, wind, a breeze will make you smile to the nature, but a hurricane will send shivers in our whole body. Because we cannot challenge or question the nature's wild nature. Honestly, universe is neither our friend nor our foe. It keeps changing its shape, and reaction will be lethal for the species sometime. Universe is a neutral mass of matter and antimatter. No God or ghost has shaped it. No God or ghost could destroy it. This belief is imparted by the universe itself. So the fear psychosis in a human brain is strategically manipulated by an adverse situation for us. My first book, Devil's Conviction, was released in 2017. The book was a bold take on the existence of God. According to all religions, their respective chief of the faith lay down foundations of life on earth. What is the logic behind it? It's again the fear that makes them think so. The believers consider each calamity or destruction occurs either a pandemic, endemic, or anything of that sort is a wrath, the anger of the Almighty God. If it is said that it's the wrath of God, I could find logic a little healthy. It is funny. There is gaseous belt around the Saturn. It's not the gift of God on its birthday, but it's the physics that makes it possible. The physics has no origin or end. It's a powerful movement of zillions of invisible forces, and the chemical particles pave the way to form another matter or a planet. The universe has been a hot topic for at least the 21st century scientists because of the complexity and the size of the object defect their own vision. I'd like to quote here the recent response of all the women or men, I don't know, on Facebook on my post regarding God's existence. It is directly linked with the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. My post was some word like this: there will be more death in the forthcoming months because of poverty than corona. The women or that particular, I don't know, man, whoever it is, immediately commented like this: who told you such nonsense? God is all powerful and he will not create anything like that. If he closes one door, there will be another door open for the people. I do not respond to it because it does not deserve a response. I feel fools should not be responded. They will not conclude but convolute the logics. I would like to answer it here. If there were God, would he kill 400,000 of people in 2 months? Or 5 million and still counting or grappling under the viral attack? Whatever, World War I or World War II take place, that eventually killed over 100 million people. Would he devastate Japan through tsunami and oceanic storms every year? Will there be Africa like this where human beings are born with extremely hostile conditions of weather and societal brutality? Would there be a class war that has been slashing millions every year? Would there be massacre every corner of the human world? Would there be war on skin color and communities? Would there be any Vietnam War? Would there be a Laotian brutality by the US? Would there be any terrorist group to the like of IS or Al Qaeda? Would there be the grotesque crime like raping a tender child? Would there be poisoning the world through fatal medicines or drugs? All such human atrocities happen because of the absence of God. When a child in a school misbehaves, there will be a teacher to counsel him or her. But if the number of counselors are much lesser as compared to the ratio of students, there will be a complete chaos. Who will counsel who? So there must be a healthy student-teacher ratio in every school, 10:1. If this ratio is maintained, there cannot be any bad element emerges in any school. The God's case is somewhat similar. He cannot manage 7.4 billion humans all alone. If he cannot manage, then why he created? But the common sense says there is nothing to manage except the corrupt or crony government officials in every nation. When the president of a nation smokes on his yard, the world would consider not it as a bad element part, but the lifestyle of the person. On the other hand, if a farmer smokes, the local administration issues warning on the consequence of smoking. Here, God is not managing, but a socially powerful, so-called powerful authority manages at its will and freedom. Do you think a poor man in the world has all the freedom to do what he wants as of a rich man enjoys or destroys self? An act of offense or irrationality must be taken as an offense. It should not have a profiling of income, status, or social echelons. Human suffers because of a few factors. First, other humans around or himself, nature's disturbances, and finally, celestial events on earth. There have been billions of poor and the hungry died, killed, savaged, tortured, suffocated, or outcast from the world. Was the God silent, or is deaf to all these situations, or rather blind to see? This ire of an ordinary mind, if he or she takes the events to the next degree of thinking, the answer will be clear to him or her, as there is nothing like God to see or to hear. Human beings have to live with this belief that every action to destroy a happy situation will bring much severe situations in the time to come. The world is controlled by fear, ruled by fear, and people live each day in fear. There is no fearless hyena around us. As I speak, the universe works on gravity, and the world works on fear. But the human world is supposed to survive on love and humanity. These are gradually getting extinct, on the verge of extinction, if not. The plague of 1600, 1700, and the 1900, and now the COVID-19, which killed not only the humans, but also the basic human essence of living. There have been Nagasaki, Hiroshima, new killings, millions of humans, and a lifetime to get affected with severe consequences too. The Fukushima nuke leak and tsunami that devastated the nation Japan a few years ago cannot be taken as a silly events or the evening games of God. There are millions who devote their lives to the worship of God, and they would speak, all the happenings on earth that destroy lives are the result of wrath of God. I'm surprised to hear whether God is also a short-tempered person or entity. Humans satisfy themselves with their enigmatic ego or weird perceptions, and they disappear after a while. I recall an incident of a member of a religious group a few years ago at my office, who came for an entirely different purpose though, but his folly outlook, I would say the exterior clothing, burns inside as well. Hence he shot an anticipated question after a few seconds of meeting, as he knew that I didn't believe God. Why don't you believe in God? Strange. It is as same as a small kid says that he does not believe there is a moon. My first reaction was somehow hidden by me, because it was something else I could not mention here. But I responded with a smile and replied that I believed in energy only. He went on, oh come on, so don't you believe in eternal life? My way of life will make me live after my death. I immediately had no choice but to let him go. But he insisted. I asked him to cut the discussion and might leave the office. He left dissatisfied with his fellow members. I honestly believe these laws deliberately destabilize the purpose of life on earth. I mean, all those people who try to induce their strange or weird ideologies on others on religious beliefs, and they consider it is spirituality. Spirituality is far, far beyond their expectation even. I do not intend to create any kind of dispute or discord with any religion, because I am not against any religion. Because I am not against any religion, I repeat, as long as it believes in energy and its varied forms that control the universe somehow. It's not a person, it's not a place. It is invisible and invincible, as what we experience on a flight doing. If any of the window panes is broken, there will be a devastation followed by. And as long as the aircraft has no such damage, it will glide through the air. The air pressure gushes through the broken window pane cannot be stopped by anyone. It will throw you away and rip the aircraft into pieces. This is the enormous power of energy. You cannot see it, you cannot destroy it, but it's present everywhere, every part of the universe. It is present in every atom, and the universe is an extended or large-sized atom. It is a gorgeous source of energy untamed by anything or anyone in multiverse. As energy cannot be created or destroyed, the universe exists on its superbind. But the ordinary human believes the sudden crack on the flight window happened due to God's ire. And that is dangerous fun. If I counter the person, he will be a potential physical threat to me. So I can remain silent with my energy. Storing energy in the body is a powerful act. Everyone gets energy to the body through the consumption of food, but a very few wonderful human beings know how to lead that energy to make their mind stronger than body. Body is visible format and mind is the invisible one. Here too, mind is the most powerful part of the body. We see the moon, but we cannot feel the energy possessed by it. This is the beauty of possession of energy. It is silent and extremely powerful. I would like to take a few humans who possessed powerful mental energy in the last few years, I would say 1 decade or 1 century. Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. C.V. Raman, Dr. Stephen Hawking, the Curies, Madame and Pierre Curies, Gregor Mendel, Galileo, and Nikola Tesla. These were few we can easily identify how they managed to store the mental energy. There are many like this. None of them had a well-built physical appearance, but their minds were extraordinarily powerful. It unleashes to the end you want to see. There is no role of God here or anywhere. And all the calamities and crises happen or will happen in the world of humans because of the absence of any godly entity. But the fear of the uncertainties of any kind, we all come down to the knees and pray for a resolve. God is the most saleable concept in the human market after sex. And you can see the result of both, how these are destroying the ethics of societal living. Religions do not have cooperation or symbiosis. Each religion has a leader and the scripts are taught in its verbal format, not in the actual derivation or perception. If there were an entity as God, it would not create human divisions. It would not let the people create different religions. It would not create human arrogance or feisty egos. It would not ask us to choose a specific day to worship or to consider it a holy day or night. There is no Monday or Sunday. All are human schedules for the management of life on earth. Flowers are decided on the religious domain. Days are selected for holy prayers. Animals are even chosen as holy and supper material. As the life is full of contradictions, and the regression of saint to saint journey is subconsciously created by us. A tree cannot survive without the assistance of water, soil, and fertilizers if we want the fruit from them. As trees do not have brain to rationalize its position or sense organs to retaliate, humans start wondering on it. Whose God exists here? Plant God or human God? No one can answer the logicless concepts. When science is the logic of the universe, God has no importance. And if the God becomes our science, we will never think about the logic. This is the truth. This is a fact. And this has to be learned by everyone. The crisis hit 2020, human beings are creating a new derivation on God. But all those so-called divine clergies are on the turf, hiding comfortably in order to protect themselves from the ever-worshipped God. There are a few lines people often speak. God is everywhere. God sees everything. God knows everything. God created everything. God will destroy everything. God will come back to earth one day, and so on. None of these statements has any logic or wisdom, but a scared and egoistic response to demean the one who questions the existence of the ultimate G factor. Look at the human-made extreme atrocities on his own existence. Black skin is considered downgrade or not a civilized human by the white-skinned. The color discrimination propelled the next level of human empathy, wars and chemical weapons, interplanetary war situations, setting human colonies on the moon and even on Mars as it considered this as brilliance. Adulteration of food, medicines, and even baby food, poisonous drinks as a thirst quencher, religious supremacy, wars for money, wars for business, and life for nothing. Do you still believe the role of God in any of these? If you still believe, I will tender my helplessness and apologies hitherto. Please do not find God in temples or churches, but it in your deeds. It is a feeling of contentment. It is no religion, class, or subdivision. Giving food to the needy, lending help to the poor, loving and caring your loved ones, helping without looking at the face, giving food to a stray animal. When you do not exploit the trusted one, when you do not betray someone whom you loved, when you do not destroy someone for money, when you do not let anyone suffer, when you feel empathetic towards the suffering, and when you feel every plant is your support, you will feel the joy of life, and every feeling of such is godly. But existence of an entity as God is foolish as painting black color in complete darkness. God or humans, I think, live in the fear. It does not exist here. And the fear makes the human sensible and loving too. Friends, you may conclude, or you may think, which God exists? God to cure or God to fear? In both sense, we do not need such an entity, but it's a beautiful concept. God lives in your fear. God lives in your fear. God and ghost are the two entities, and life is left to us. It's your choice. That's all for today. I hope you liked my episode. Subscribe my Rex Talk for many more revolutions and more collective and sublime discussions. Till the next episode, thank you. Good night.